Hello and welcome to Stereotypical, the podcast about music and the people who make it, brought to you by the OX Collective. On today's episode, we review new music from Billie Eilish, Bleachers and The Weeknd. Before we get into it, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Allo Sound Studios for hosting us and sponsoring the episode. As always, they're great, you can check them out. But without any further ado, let's get into it. Stereotypical, episode 14, let's go. So,
we're back.
We are back. We weren't gone for long.
It feels like we've been gone for ages, if you ask me.
I feel like the Kanye episode was a few weeks ago. He's still not dropped Donda.
Donda's still not here.
Donda is still not out. We'll review it if it comes out. We'll do it. We can do an episode on it.
Yeah, that's a solid episode there.
Yeah, because there's been such a climax coming up to it. But today, let's talk Billie Eilish. First of all,
New
music. I feel like people are starting to release stuff again. You know what I mean? I feel like there was a lull where singles and that were coming out, but now the world's slightly opening up again. Albums are dropping. I'm interested in things that are coming out, which I feel like I haven't been for a good minute.
It's mad to think that obviously with the year off, basically of not being able to tour and stuff, people are going to respect that time recording and writing. So now it's naturally time.
Yeah. It's weird to think that these are all lockdown projects as well. A lot of them. But yeah, Billie Eilish.
The
second record.
Yep. Sophomore album. It's a challenge, I think, the sophomore album. It sort of defines whether you've got the staying power, especially when you're an artist as big as that. You know what I mean? There's a lot riding on the second album, I think. Yeah. But I think people were expecting the first one to bang anyway. And I think that would have been harder.
What do you mean? Oh, well, I suppose with someone like Billie Eilish, who was in the public eye for so long, dropping singles and that first EP before the first album, there probably was a lot of expectation on the first album.
Yeah.
So maybe that relieves some of the expectation for this one.
Yeah. I feel like I read somewhere for the first album, the label was we want it to be huge. You're going to be a superstar. Yeah. Where now that's been and gone, you know what I mean? She is dead famous to be fair, because she obviously is sick. So with a second album, I think it relieves a bit of pressure. Obviously, it's with the first one doing so well and being nominated for all them awards, it is big to live up to.
I feel like you can hear. I don't know. I don't know if I can decide. I can't decide if her songwriting's changed first album to second album. I guess it has evolved, and there's probably more honesty in it, if anything.
Yeah.
Which you'd think, given the sort of level of scrutiny she's under sometimes, it'd be difficult. So I kind of admire how open she is. She's one of the biggest artists in the world, and there's a lot of eyes on her. And to put out a record that's kind of a bit... I feel like the second record's a bit... I mean, the first record was weird.
Yeah, you've not said an adjective since.
The second record is also a bit weird.
Yeah, it's less weird.
It's less weird, yeah. But it's still not your archetypical pop record, I wouldn't say.
No.
And especially lyrically, it is very open and honest. Yeah. And it tells a lot of stories.
Yeah, I think it's less metaphorical than the first one that I've got down. The first album could have been interpreted a lot of ways where this time I feel like she's more speaking, do you know what I mean? Yeah. There's even the song on there that is spoken word, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that was the first thing that hit me about this album was the lyrics. Which is weird for me because, as we've discussed a little bit before, I'm probably more drawn towards music, and the music of this album did really, there's a lot on here that I like. Yeah. But I think her ability to keep me interested lyrically throughout the course of the 16 songs or whatever it was, I really like that. You know what I mean? I was always waiting to hear what the next thing that she had to say was, whereas on the first album, I feel like you say, it was more metaphorical. And it was sort of, the meanings would reveal themselves more over time. Whereas this is more she's telling stories, you know what I mean? And like I say, sonically, I did really like the album. I think the mixing is impeccable. The low end on this album is sick. The production's great.
But then again, I remember you telling me last week, you was like, have you listened to it yet? And I was like, no. And he's like, the mixing's really good. But listening to it now and feeling how open it is and how much space there is, you think obviously there's a bad way to mix something, but I don't think it could have been dead hard. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it does feel very
Yeah, there is a lot of sparsity to it. But I don't know.
Like, it is, I'm not saying it's badly mixed. It is very well mixed, but it is very open as well.
Yeah, but it's mad, and we've talked about this a bit before, and we talked about it the other day, watching, like, Phineas production videos and stuff like that. Like, it sounds good, but it doesn't sound anywhere near as beefy as, like, the final product, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's just putting stuff in there. And then I don't know who mixed this record. I'm assuming it's the same person who mixes all this.
It was the same Donny. Yeah.
Is it? What's do you know his name?
I did not write his name down.
Whoever he is, you know, he deserves the money he's getting. And like you say, yeah, it is quite an open record, and it is quite sparse. And it probably wasn't like an amazingly hard job. But it's very refined, it's very polished, and the low end in particular, because it's such like a lot of Phineas's production, I think, is quite sort of sub heavy. So getting that in a way that like really resonates with you, I feel like that's a challenge.
Don't know, because one thing I've written down is like she's got the same sort of like. She's got the way she sings, you know what I mean? I can see some people not liking Billie Eilish because it's all the same. It's very like that light, whispery voice with just like a load of sax and a load of harmonies behind it. So you're not getting a lot of low end from that anyway.
No.
Mix-wise. So you're leaving, you know, the spectrum open anyway, and the ear candy's like the percussion.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, to get a sub that sounds like subby, we're getting really esoteric with this, but like...
Really? You're making a sub sound subby?
No. But to get a sub that is like fat and subby without being like muddy and taking like, you know, if you ever listen to a pair of headphones and they're like, you can tell like bass boosted, and it's like someone's just put a shelf and like gone at the low end, because that's not how you get good low end. But this has like fat, like loud, prominent low end without being overbearing or muddy.
But there's only like one heavy song, isn't there?
What do you mean?
Is it Oxytocin?
I've got Oxytocin as maybe my favourite song off the whole thing.
Yeah, when I was listening to it on Spotify, I don't know about you, and I was reading like the stuff at the bottom, do you know what I mean? When the artist can like comment on stuff. It's like, oh, we wanted a song that would have been good live. Yeah. And like, I get that. Like, it is the only heavy one on there. Like, the only like crazy one.
Well, I think the title track is also quite crazy. And I think I've seen a lot of people reacting really well to it since the album came out. And I think also, like you were talking about, sort of her vocal style, I feel like it has evolved on this record. She's still got the classic Billie Eilish vocal style, but she is being a lot more, I don't know, there's a lot of more moments where she shouts and like she's a lot more open, and then there's also moments where she's quiet and talking.
It's sat back. It's not forefront. Yeah. In the song, and like she can sing. Like I've seen loads of videos where like she can belt. She's a really good singer. Oh yeah, incredible. But this is just a style, and I think, I don't know, for me anyway, I just expected it to be a little bit more varied. Like, I get that this is this.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying about the title track. Do you not think that there are songs on there?
There is.
Like, there's songs on there that first listen I was like, oh, I didn't expect her to be singing like that.
Really? No, I didn't feel that way at all.
And I definitely didn't expect her to be sounding like she does on some of these songs, in terms of like, you know, the title track is very heavy. It's not very heavy to begin with, but then it gets very heavy. And I feel like we've never heard.
It's more mature, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is what I've written down. Like, it's more mature. Like, she was very young anyway when she was in the limelight. Yeah. Like 17 or something crazy. Yeah,
I think this album's maybe more refined than the first one. I've got that it's sort of got less lulls in the track listing, less weak songs. Maybe that's just my personal opinion. I would maybe rearrange the track listing a little bit, because sort of after the first few songs, as much as I like My Future, which obviously we've heard, you know, that's been out for time, and the Billy Bossa Nova tune is like, okay.
That's one of my favourite songs.
Billy Bossa Nova?
Yeah.
It's very, you might not get this, but Paul, I would recommend you listen to it. It's got a very strokesy guitar. But yeah, I like songs like that are cool. I really like My Future. Billy Bossa Nova's okay, but I just maybe wouldn't have put them so high in the track list, because I think maybe once you hit sort of Oxytocin, the rest of it runs really well.
But you think it runs well afterwards? Yeah. So you think it like around like around 8, 9 dips?
No. Like, with Billy Bossa Nova and My Future
very
at the top. Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'd say like you know, the first 2 tracks sound. It's a slow start as well with that opening track.
Yeah,
which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I like the first song on it.
Yeah, well, that's again another example of like her her lyrical storytelling really gripped me on. Really gripped me on that one. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you can get away with having a start that is that slow.
Yeah.
When you draw people in with the lyrics like that. Everybody Dies is also a track that I really really hit me there. And I know that you used to have. I don't know if you still have.
We can't talk about it too long because I will fucking panic.
like a death anxiety.
Yeah.
But like...
Death anxiety, that's a good name for a band, that. We should write that down.
Okay. We got it on camera, it's fine. Yeah, Everybody Dies, like, such an emotional moment on the record for me. I was listening to it and I just sort of had to just sit there and take a minute, you know what I mean? It was one of them. And it was probably... Obviously, like, I loved some of the earlier tracks. There's some great beats on, like... I Didn't Change My Number and Oxytocin's great. But when it got to Everybody Dies, I was like, oh, I think I'm really invested in this record, you know what I mean? Like, I actually like this. And I've listened to it a fair bit since, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would say as a whole, this is a good record. And it's a record that I will continue to listen to for a while.
Yeah.
There's stuff on there that I don't care for as much. Your Power, Billy Bossa Nova kind of fall a bit flat for me, personally.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah. It's a good sophomore.
I think, album-wise, as a record, like I say, it doesn't grab me like the first one did.
Oh, really?
Like, I feel like it is a bit long.
Okay.
Like, to me, it did get a bit, you know, like, is it, are we nearly done? Because, like, everything, like you said, it starts off very well and it ends off very lightly, do you know what I mean?
I don't think it does end off.
I think it ends up with light songs.
No, that title track, Jack. Are we listening to the same album?
Yeah, but the last song.
Yeah, well, to be fair, like I would have maybe ended it after the title track. Although, like, Male Fantasy is a decent song.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put it on, just put it. Like, shove it up the track list a bit.
Like when we was talking about this, I think it was only yesterday. Like when we was about like Bury a Friend. Like how crazy it is.
Well, this is what I was just gonna say as well. When you were talking, this hit me. It's like the first album had more like moments.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like this is a better overall product.
Think.
Yeah, because the first album had stuff like 8 and Elo Milo and stuff like that were a bit like I was just like I don't really care about this. You know what I mean? Yeah. As much as I love like Bad Guy and Bury a Friend and All Good Girls Go to Hell and like those sort of boppier, weirder banger tunes. You know what I mean?
Like I don't know. I just expect like I expected it. Just like it's a good album. Like I'm trying to channel Fantano, right? It's a good album. But I just expected something a little bit more. Because we know what she can do and we know what she's good at.
That's damn near what Fantano said about it, actually.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? No, because he said he quite liked it, but he was like, it's not quite, you know what I mean? Not quite as good as the first one. I rate it, though. I do.
It isn't as quite as, like I said before, it's a lot of okay songs, but they didn't catch like the first album.
Do you like NDA?
I do like NDA. I think I listened to it twice on the way here.
I really like NDA.
It's going to be on an advert, isn't it?
Yeah, that I mean,
hear that already.
It's weird, and like, but when it drops into that chorus, like, I'm like, that is how I want music to sound. Yeah. It's kind of dark, kind of heavy. It's got
the little thing. Like twitchy motif. The last note on the motif. I like that.
But the thing that annoyed me about that song is it came out and I was like, oh yeah, I quite like this. And then you look at all the YouTube comments, people are like, why is she using auto-tune? And I'm like, because it's an effect.
It is an effect.
You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh my god, she's got such an amazing voice. She doesn't need to use auto-tune. It's like...
I guess it also proves, though, like when they say they don't use auto-tune at all because she is so good at singing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It shows the difference of what it would be like.
Yeah.
If it was, you know, normal artistry.
Yeah. Do you think that the singles that they chose for this one was a good choice?
Do you think? Have you got the singles?
So, My Future...
Right.
Therefore I Am, NDA.
Therefore I Am is very, very typical Billie Eilish, do you know what I mean? I'd expect it. This is what I expect.
It's the bad guy of the record.
Yeah.
If you will.
And NDA, I like, yeah.
Yeah. Because that was my worry going into the record. It's like, as much as I like Therefore I Am and I was interested by NDA and I thought My Future was a really good song and I love like the chord progression in it, but I was like, is this going to have... the sort of oomph that the first one had. You know what I
mean? Do you think it had the oomph?
Well, this is what I'm saying. I don't think it has as many standout moments, but as a full product, I do rate it. I'd maybe give it. Did you?
We're doing it. No, I didn't know.
Well, I'm surprised because if you've not seen this before, usually if we're talking about albums,
on ranked, yeah,
I
am very numerical.
When we do the ranked episode, Jack goes through every song and gives it a score, and then aggregates those scores to give that album a whole score.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I was just gonna say maybe like a 7, maybe an 8.
An 8? You're giving it an 8?
Yeah, but not on Fantano levels. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd give it. I'd as an album, I'd give it a 6.9.
Okay, interesting.
It's not. It didn't give it to me. I wanted it to give it to me. It didn't give it to me.
Okay.
Because I like the weirdness, like the darkness of the first album.
Yeah.
And the songs, especially with like Phineas's production.
Yeah.
Like you know what he can do, and you do see it in glimpses of songs on this album, like you said with the low end. And there's like one song early on, it's got like a sort of drone noise. You know what I mean? It keeps going through, and I was like, that's mad, but I like it.
Yeah.
The whole like jazzy sort of side to it, with just the guitars, and there's one with like the what the box is called, sort of kick drum.
Oh, cajon.
Yeah. That's what I was going as well. It's all right, but do I want it to be on like 4 tracks on a Billie Eilish album? I don't know.
Well, this was my problem with the first album. There was too many sort of acoustic-y like lulls that I feel like were rectified on this album. But I think just to close this off, I will probably always be interested in a Billie Eilish album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I say, even though the first one didn't necessarily capture me as much as this one has, I still came round for this one. You know what I mean?
It's crazy to think that this one's captured you more than the first one.
And this
how
is what
interesting
I'm saying,
would it be if there was a different producer? That's the question.
But it wouldn't be what it is.
I know, but like, let's say next album.
Billie, as much as like Billie's voice is amazing, Billie Eilish is Billie and Phineas. Really, it's a duo. It's a band of 2 songwriters. You know what I mean? But
it's the feng shui.
That's not what feng shui
means. It is.
But it's like, obviously Phineas can write songs by himself, and Billie can write songs by herself. But I feel like the full thing of the Billie Eilish package is them together. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see
how different it would be.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see what happens in the future. I feel like I'll always give Billie a listen and Phineas a listen. He's got an album coming out, actually. We'll review it one day.
What we'll take on the next one, on the next New Mew.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Bleachers.
Do you think Bleachers, Bleachers aren't, as what would you say? Not famous, but well known?
Yeah, no, I would agree.
But then?
Bleachers, for anyone who doesn't know, is the band project of famed producer Jack Antonoff, who's known for producing Taylor Swift and Lorde and Lana Del Rey and a smattering of other people as well. Bleachers probably do a lot better in America than they do over here.
Yeah,
I'd say we're fans.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I am a fan.
You love watching Jack Antonoff studio videos.
Yeah, I love watching any studio videos in general, but there is something about him. Like, I only heard about him when you showed me.
Yeah, Don't Take the Money. Yeah.
And then, after researching everything he's done, it's like, fuck, I've not heard his name before.
I honestly don't know how I found Bleachers. I don't know how I found Don't Take the Money.
I don't think you found Don't Take the Money first.
But I'm glad I did.
I'm glad you
did. So this new record. Stop every time I cough. Don't look at me like that. No. I've got a throat thing. I've not got COVID.
No
don't worry.
COVID in this room. Well, I don't know if Paul's been to
Paul's already had COVID, it's fine. So this new Bleachers record, Take the Sadness Out Saturday Night. What were your thoughts? Did you like it?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it, yeah.
That's what I've put. My first point is just, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
There's good songs on there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this is the thing that I have with Bleachers records, and I have this with a load of other artists as well. Bleachers, for me, like, the songs that I fucking love, right? But do I think they've delivered like a great album ever? No. The albums are good, but I'm not like blown away.
Even before this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first and second albums to me, there's like a fair amount of duds on there.
Right, okay.
But the good songs are fucking great. And I have this problem with a load of, I have the same thing with The Neighbourhood. But it's enough to keep me interested, you know what I mean? Because the sort of, and often it's like the singles, really.
Yeah.
And then like a handful of others. This record, I would say maybe the same about. I don't know if it has.
Well,
more.
It's only short in it. It's like 10 songs. It's like half an hour, 40 minutes most.
Yeah.
Listening time. There's not much to go through, but I feel like you listen in chronological order?
Of course. Yeah. I'm not a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, do people not do that?
I reckon some people don't.
What, just put an album on shuffle the first time they listen to it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Defo.
The amount of effort that goes into sequencing.
Sick bastards.
Do you listen to an album all the way through? Yeah.
In sequence.
Yeah.
See.
But yeah,
but there will be some. Yeah. Anyway, right. But listening through it, I don't know, like they are kind of samey.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same vibe throughout. Do you know what I mean? There's no. I wouldn't say there was like crazy standout tracks.
No, there's probably less like big poppy singles than previous albums.
Yeah.
Obviously, Don't Take the Money on the second one and like Roller Coaster on the first one. Chinatown is maybe one of the that was the single. That was like the first single.
I think it had to be though if Springsteen's on it.
Yeah.
Kind of has to be.
But this is the thing, right? There's two features on this album: the Springsteen and Lana.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them aren't really. They're on it, but they're not like they're just singing a chorus that's already been sung.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like it's a bit of a cop out of a feature.
Yeah.
Does Springsteen's voice add a lot to this track? Definitely. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a very Springsteen-y track, and I feel like a lot of Bleachers you can sort of see the Springsteen influence.
Definitely.
Chinatown, but I do think that was one of the standouts from the record for me. Maybe and a lot like what else was a single? Stop Making This Hurt.
Yeah.
And How Dare You Want More.
I don't think I heard that one as a single when it came out. I did Stop Making It Hurt. I think you sent me the video when it came out.
And then obviously How Dare You Want More was the one that they've been pushing for like when they do like Kimmel or whatever the fuck, like for when we watched that Fallon thing.
Yeah. I would like to hear Chinatown with just Springsteen.
Oh, what, him singing it all?
Yeah. Still have it on the record, you know, but just have him singing it.
Do a Springsteen version.
Yeah. No, just put him on. Just let him do the vocals. Fuck Jack Antonoff anyway for the vocals because he's not a great singer anyway. No. And this is one of the big issues I've got with this album.
Oh, really? The vocals?
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, like if you've got it needs more features. If this guy, do you know what I think? If this guy's producing major pop songs for major pop artists, can he not get more people? Yeah, but I don't like. Or is that the point of Bleachers? Do you know
I feel like that is the point of Bleachers. You know what I mean? Yeah. He writes and produces with these artists when he's doing their shit, but when it's Bleachers, it's him. And although there are other people that contribute to the whole Bleachers product, it's probably very collaborative. It is more of a Jack Antonoff thing.
The issue I have is with the vocals on pretty much all of the tracks. They're too far back. Some of them there's a lot of like slap back in there. Yeah, on one of the songs it's just delay. It is just delay.
Well, this is it's on Big Life. Like everything's just so washed out in that like slap back delay that I'm like I can't hear this properly.
Yeah, like, I don't know what he's saying on some songs, but like it sounds to me like he's took a few takes and gone, yeah, done.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. Maybe that's how he wants it to sound.
Yeah.
But especially from the last album, how like it's finally polished, produced in your face. This is completely different.
Well, yeah, this is what I was going to say. The whole album has a lot more of a raw and a live feel. So I feel like he's moved away from sort of a lot of the. Obviously, there's still a lot of like the big reverbs and delays, but like it's less like 80s drum sounds and sort of fat basses. And he's moved more into sort of live instrumentation. There's a lot more obvious guitar. There's acoustics. There's acoustic drums that are like so obviously just recorded in a room. The whole thing I would say is generally more raw and unpolished than anything that we generally hear from a Jack Antonoff product. Be that a Bleachers record or somebody else's record. I don't know if that's come from working with people like Lana who generally have that more like acoustically driven sound. But that's why I was interested to hear what you thought about it because generally you do like shit that's more like polished. Yeah. I don't picture you as a live. I can never picture you as like going, oh, we should put an acoustic guitar on this. You know what I mean?
Controversial, because sometimes I'm like, we need a guitar, and you're like, no, we don't.
Yeah, but it's never an acoustic guitar.
It sounds like he's kept his phone recording in a jam session and just like captured the vibe more than, making a pop song. Because they are pop songs.
Yeah.
But they don't feel like pop songs.
Yeah.
They're not like radio ready songs.
No, they're pop in the sense that they have that sort of, I guess, major key.
Yeah.
Sort of.
It's very uplifting.
Yeah. Well,
they're all like upbeat songs.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I've got is like, even though it moves into that different area of production, it's still got the sort of hope that I would say a lot of Bleachers has. You know what I mean? That sort of New Jersey sound. So yeah, I would say they're pop songs, and there's catchy moments on there, definitely, and there's definitely uplifting moments on there. But no, it's nowhere near as polished as anything he's done before, and I think that's to its detriment in a lot of places.
I'd say.
Like, it works in a lot of areas. Songs like How Dare You Want More definitely
benefits.
Need that sort of live instrumentation. But I don't know, I came away from this whole record being sort of like, yeah. It didn't leave a massive imprint on me. I do like some of the songs.
Yeah. The songs are good. The songs themselves, I think, are good.
Yeah.
It could do with a bit more progression, maybe. Like, a lot of it just seems very repetitive.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it does sound like a movie soundtrack. Sounds like a John Hughes film.
I feel like a lot of his music sounds like John Hughes films.
But I feel like...
That's that New Jersey hope I'm on
this
about.
is like... It does feel retro. Do you know what I mean? Especially coming from what we know he's done before.
Yeah, this definitely sounds... This is the most Springsteen he's gone.
Yeah.
I've got I admire the evolution into that area. I admire any artist that is constantly evolving.
Moving, yeah.
And I think to a degree it does... It works. Could the mixing and the recording have been a bit better? Yes.
Yeah.
But the songs definitely are pretty good, and like they work in that sort of production.
I think it counts that we know that we like Jack Antonoff. And this is what I say this all the time, is it the person that we like and therefore like the music? Like, if you showed me this album and was like, I like this guy as like a producer, listen to this, would I feel the same as I do now, knowing that I like him anyway? Probably not.
Yeah.
If I listen to this not knowing who he is, I'm like, the songs, I get it, are a bit poppy and a bit vibey.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't rate it as much.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've also got, there seems to be like a decent amount of inconsistency in the mixing and mastering. So, for example, songs like Big Life are so washed out.
Yeah.
But then, like, How Dare You Want More is like quieter than some of the other songs, and things seem set back. And then there's the song that's like loud and in your face, and it's like, I don't know, it doesn't run as a very consistent listen.
I think this is the first thing I said when we talked about it. It is just set back.
Yeah.
And it is quiet as well. It is a quiet record. But again, it's going off what he's done before. Because that's the only thing you can do in it. Because we know what we like from him. And we know that he's good at it as well. So we know what he can do. It just doesn't.
I just feel like he probably did
that
want
level.
I don't know if he went into it like this, but it sounds like he wanted to make a more sort of retro sounding record. And to be fair, like, we talk a lot about the aesthetic of an album, and it has a consistent aesthetic.
Definitely.
And it definitely has a world that it exists in. And I admire that as well as I admire the evolution. You know what I mean? I admire artists that work like that. I think all in all, it's not a bad record.
No.
Like you say, the songs are there, but it is just a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah. In arguments, saying like, we know like the pop, massive polished songs he does. If there was like one or two on the album, it would make it less coherent, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true.
So I get what he's done, I get why he's done it, and it is a good end product, and it, it fits well, it gels, it glues, it vibes. But it's just not what I want from him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's me being a dickhead, because the old stuff's there if I do want it.
Well, I thought that would be your reaction. It's like, it's okay, but it's not like the kind of Jack Antonoff that you would go for. I
definitely respect it though.
Yeah, I respect it
like
too.
The craftsmanship is there.
And I will always, be down to listen to a bit of Jack Antonoff.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, so finally, The Weeknd has some new music out. I'm a Weeknd fan.
Yeah.
You're a Weeknd fan, right? Yeah. He's hinting towards a new album called The Dawn. I don't know how much you've seen about this.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, which is surprising given how soon with, like how recently After Hours came out, it was only last year, really, and how big that was. He could easily just ride off that success a bit more. I know that he's touring. It's the After Hours tour that is set to happen like early next year or something. It's not done yet, and he might have a new record out by then. I thought after Hours.
After Hours? After Hours?
Post After Hours.
Yep.
I thought he would do... I thought
something
he would go
different.
Well, no, I thought he would go more down the dark rabbit hole. And it's yet to be seen whether that is what's going to happen. But this first song is very much not like that.
No.
I don't know if this is going to be reflective of what the whole album is.
Yep.
It is a vibey song.
Keeping the disco hype.
Yes, very much so.
And I was going to say, have you ever been like catfished by a first single from an album?
Many a time.
Yeah, because like the one that rings out to me is Midnight by Coldplay.
Right.
Like for Ghost Stories. It's the only different song, do you know what I mean? This could be that. Who knows, but it doesn't feel like it, especially coming off After
But
Hours.
I suppose like on After Hours you had Blinding Lights, and which wasn't necessarily representative of the whole vibe of the album. It's a lot more popular.
But this is very Blinding Lights-ish, isn't it? Same producer as Max Martin again.
Is it Max Martin again?
Yeah.
Well, that's what
I think it's the same writer
thinking.
as well as Blinding Lights.
Oh, really?
Single, yeah.
This is partly what I was thinking. Obviously, it's the lead single from a big pop artist like The Weeknd. I know last time he put Heartless out at the same time as Blinding Lights, so you had the sort of the duality of those two different sides of the album. So it's hard to tell what this is going to be from just this first single. But just listening to this, I like it.
It's very good. It is very good, can't lie.
It's very good. It's very polished. It's very tight. It's very funky.
Yep.
Makes me want to dance. And I like that. There's a...
I don't want to see you dance. You need to insert the clip of that arm going west. That's what we need to do.
I'll send it, Paul. I just love like the emphasis on like the backbeats. Like when it hits into the chorus, the main like cymbal crashes on beat 2.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. That gets anybody grooving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about songwriting. It's catchy. It's memorable.
Yeah.
Is it Blinding Lights level of catchy and memorable? Is it Can't Feel My Face level catchy and memorable? Maybe not.
I'd say it's a step underneath though. If we're putting levels,
it's not far. It's not far, but it's not like, it's by no means like a It's really good. It's by no means like a standout song.
No.
It's just a good, really good pop tune.
Yeah, and I like that. Like the dark lyrical content is still there, even though it's the sort of disco vibe is still going.
Yeah.
But when we know The Weeknd's releasing music, Blinding Lights was good, and that whole After Hours thing, it was kind of a bit left field. Do you know what I mean? We didn't kind of expect it to go down that way. So, like, we thought, it's done. What's he going to do next? And it's kind of riding the vibe. Would I have liked it to go back to, the old sort of stuff? Deep Behind the Madness sort of vibes?
I don't think he's ever going to go back to Beauty Behind the Madness sort of vibes. A lot of people, go on about, we want, like, Trilogy era, Weeknd and that. And I think, like, After Hours was maybe the darkest he's been since Trilogy. And personally, like, that's the shit that I like. You know what I mean? As much as I admire his ability to, like, craft a really catchy pop song, I like it when he gets dark and he gets a bit weird and a bit gritty. So I'm hoping that the new album isn't, like, Starboy level of pop.
Yeah.
Because, as we know, Starboy wasn't amazing.
No.
But I don't know. It's tough to tell off just a first single. But as a song, I like it.
It's a very good song.
My only complaint maybe would be I wish he'd have done something more with that middle section.
Yeah.
Where it switches that really dark chord progression with like the synth bass and whatever. I was like, right.
The middle
I was like,
is
give it
crazy.
to me. I was like, it sounds sick. Like sonically, the instrumental's fucking great. I was like, give it to me, lay it on me, say something dark, say something cool, say something vibey. And he just sort of did some O's and then it went back to the chorus.
Then it goes, it's quite short. I would have maybe just made that middle eight the rest of the single. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds like
there's an extended version though that I've yet to hear actually. I maybe should have listened to it before we did this. So there's like the 3.5 minute version, which is the single. And then there's like a 5 minute version. So I don't know if that's the actual version and then the one.
And they've just cut it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess I'll have to listen to it. I don't know which version will be on the album. I definitely expected that middle section to be more of the song because I'd seen a teaser which was based around that middle section. And I was like, oh, this gonna be dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe that was just a teaser, Joe. Maybe that's what they expected you. You know, this is what we're giving, and then slap back with what it actually is, which works. But it's a good song. Yeah, I'd be interested into what he does next. Like, I kind of pied off Starboy straight away. I wasn't a fan. After Hours we both liked. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it will be a vibe.
Yeah. The Weeknd's one of them artists. It's much like, you know, Jack Antonoff or even Billie Eilish that we've talked about is something that I'll always at least listen to and see if I'm into
this is one thing, like I mentioned before, like there's always that Jack Antonoff you could go back to, like with The Weeknd, like it's timeless, is all stuff, do you know what I mean? Like it's there when we do listen to it, like we do still want to. So if it is different, like I don't think I'd mind.
Yeah. So it has come to that time of the show.
Yes.
The return of Jack's tactical tracks.
Insert old picture.
Would you like to give a bit of background into what tactical tracks is for any new viewers?
I've got a headache thinking of this phrasing. So, tactical tracks. We're picking a song to fit a question, environment, scenario.
Yeah.
That I propose.
Yes.
And then we both put forward a song as an answer.
Okay. So today's question is:
what song did you resonate with the most the first time you heard it?
Okay, would you like me to go first?
I do want you to go first.
So I am going to go, and I'd forgotten about this song, but I'm going to go with Asleep by the Smiths, which I'm guessing you haven't heard.
No, shock.
Okay. Anyone who has heard Asleep by the Smiths will know it is a deeply sad song, and it's very emotional. It's sort of a piano ballad type thing.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I heard it, I was in a fragile state of mind, shall we say?
There it is.
And it
there it is.
And, no, that's frail state of mind.
Oh,
you've just pulled the 1975 into this podcast, kicking and screaming. So I listened to Asleep by the Smiths. It was late. I was just lying on my bed. It was dark. I shed a tear. It hit me. It was one of those right place, right time sort of things where it's like, I relate to this so deeply that it's actually very emotional and quite sad. And I sort of went through a little phase where, I was, this was like when I was fucking 15, 16 or something. And I was in my indie bubble, as you put it.
Yeah.
So I was obviously a big Smiths fan. And I haven't really listened, I've listened to it since. Obviously, I've not only heard it that once.
Yeah.
But I haven't listened to it for a few years until this morning. I don't know why it popped into my head when you proposed that question, because I'd forgotten it existed. Don't really listen to the Smiths much these days.
Until the question.
Interesting. And it brought it back up, and I listened to it again this morning, and it still made me a bit sad.
This is what I was thinking about when I proposed the question. I was like, do you think if you asked everyone this question, are people going to be like, sad song?
Yeah. There's maybe...
And I think that's very interesting,
There's maybe more chance that they would say a sad song, I would say.
But why?
Because it is easier to resonate with a negative emotion than it is to a positive emotion. Especially if you're British.
You think?
Yeah, because we're always looking on the darker side of life, aren't we?
But like when we talk about before, like your music and emotion, like it's so mad that like if you talk about resonate with a song, no one just thinks of, oh, that's a buzzing song. That song makes me feel buzzing.
Yeah, I feel like songs that are upbeat that make you think of that, I usually have like a memory attached to them.
Same with the sad ones.
Yeah, but that's more of like a direct, just emotional attachment. You know what I mean? Like I don't, obviously, like I've just told you the story of when I first heard this song, but that's not necessarily. That holds no relevance. You know what I mean? What holds the relevance was the first time that I heard it. It just absolutely hit me in the chest. Whereas with positive emotion ones, it's usually like, oh, like me and T-shirt weather when we talked about that many episodes ago. How it reminds me of being at that gig at that time.
Yeah.
What is yours?
So as always, I fuck it up and I've got two.
Oh, fuck me, Jesus Christ.
Got just the one that I went for, and then I thought, I found another song. I was like, this one also was a big one. So, Carly Rae Jepsen, controversial, very controversial. Run Away With Me. Good tune.
This song made me cry. Mine's Carly Rae Jepsen.
So, it does remind me of like...
It's very you, to be fair. Is the other one going to be Everything Now?
No, that is a good tune though, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
But it bothers me that you've got the strangest things called Midnight Driving, right? Because I feel like I can't say it. I just can't say it. Do you know what I mean? I can't. I don't want to.
Context. My if anyone doesn't know, I'm in a band. Put out a mixtape. It's called Midnight Driving.
Must know.
Right. All 7 of the viewers.
So
well.
I was.
So wait, why can't you say?
Because I was going to say it reminds me of Midnight Driving. Do you know what
Midnight Driving. What makes you? This song reminds you of Midnight Driving?
No, exactly my point. It reminds me of being in the car at 12 p.m. at night or 12 a.m. in the morning.
So it reminds you of the act of Midnight Driving.
Yeah.
But because of my.
Yeah, I can't say it anymore.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Ha ha ha.
Lol. So, but yeah, because it reminds that sort of vibe. Do you know what I mean? Like, as soon as I hear it, I remember in college when we was making a song for something, like individually, like I stole the riff. Like, I'm just stealing it. I like it this much. I'm just taking it.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's never going to know. But yeah, that's got a lot of like emotion in that song. Do you know what I mean? How it's talking about like running away from the party. Do you know what I mean? It's very you. Now that I think about it, and I think about the type of music you listen to, and the type of music that we write, and the type of lyrics that you come forth with, it all makes sense. Yeah,
it's very sort of almost like a teen movie vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bit John Hughesy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could see that working.
Yeah. And that's like just the imagery like I always have in my head. I don't know why.
That's consistently nostalgic.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I'm quite similar to
and like, you know, every time like we're writing something or whatever and we're talking about shit, like I'm like, this is the thing that's going on in my head. This is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
And this song just like captures that, do you know what I mean? And it just seemed perfect at the time I heard it. And it's just stayed ever since. It's always up there. It's one of them, like, sometimes when my phone connects to my car, right, it
just starts playing.
It goes off my Apple Music and not what I've actually got playing. And it goes to the songs on my phone.
Yeah.
And this is one that if it did, like, I keep it on sometimes, I can't be arsed changing it. I'll keep it on. I'll listen to it.
Yeah. It's an absolute banger, to be fair. It is. And I'm not averse to a bit of Carly Rae Jepsen.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's controversial to say Carly Rae Jepsen. Just to utter those words.
Yeah, I just think, like I said before, people are just going to resonate with like sad songs more. But this is the one that just sort of hit me like a bus.
Yeah, well, I guess if you're connecting like lyrically to it as well, and you're thinking about sort of that nostalgic teenage feeling, then it holds something. You know what I mean?
My second one, you're not going to know anyway, and I'll talk about very quickly, is a song it's called Surrender by Cash Cash.
Right.
I feel like you know what Cash Cash is. So, you know, like party sort of song, do you know what I mean?
Right.
And if I was in a film, this would be on the party scene section.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The lyrics are kind of sad poppy, but you know, it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
And it's basically about like putting your guards down for people. Do you know what I mean? But it's still Geordie Shore-ish. You know, that sort of.
Yeah, it's so weird that like when you say the song that you heard and it resonated with you.
Yeah, is
the
one
first
of them.
time you heard it is a Geordie Shore-ish type tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's just the sort of thing I guess I'd like to bring to, you know, a situation.
Yeah,
not like
one of the things that came into my head when you first proposed this question to me was Redbone Gambino.
Yeah.
Just because the first time I listened to it, it was very much like a whoa.
Yeah.
Can't do it 'cause my voice is gone.
Yeah.
But like, you know, stank face, insert stank face here.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? But I was like, I mean, it resonated with me, but not like
exactly
deeply.
not
you know
internal.
I mean? So that's why I thought of something that was
Redbone is in a section it's on. I remember Annie Mac playing it twice in a row, Paul. It was unreal.
That was when I heard it as well.
And me and Ellie had just come back from somewhere, Trafford Centre or whatever. I love the Trafford Centre. I think
you do love the Trafford Centre.
And we heard it on the radio and was like, "Who is this?" And she Shazammed it. She Shazammed it, and he said Childish Gambino. I was like, "There's no fucking way."
Yeah.
So I was like, "Well,"
I thought it was a woman singing the first time.
And we pulled up, and Annie Mac was like, "You know, that was Redbone with Childish Gambino."
You pulled over immediestally.
Yeah, we just
on the M62.
Yeah. And
stop the car at once.
And she played it again. It was like, "Oh, it's Childish Gambino." I was like, and we stayed there and listened to it all again. So it was a. I hope it was a moment for everyone.
Yeah,
hearing Redbone for the first time.
You know what? Like, I feel like Redbone took. We've completely gone off topic here, but fuck it. I feel like Redbone, Redbone was like people who were into Gambino or whatever liked it, but it didn't really get massive until like months later when all the memes started happening.
Think
it wasn't like an instant hit. it was a hit.
Kind of disagree. I kind of think it was everywhere straight away.
I don't think it was. If there was a way we could find, I'll do some googling. If there's a way we can find out,
get the stats out.
We need Paul to have like a laptop or something.
The guy in the chair.
Yeah, we need a guy in a chair, and at the minute he's just a guy in a chair sat there watching us, like positioned right behind the camera as well, so he's like the only audience. But yeah, I don't know how long it was after.
Know, 'cause I feel like I remember
because I'm sure it was after the album came out that it got big.
No way, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think so.
We could discuss this more if we did a Childish Gambino episode of Ranked, which you're refusing to do. Comment below if you want to see us talk about Childish Gambino. But anyway, I feel like that brings us to a natural conclusion on today's episode. So thank you very much for watching. This has been another episode of the Stereotypical Podcast. If you're watching this on the YouTube, on the YouTube. I always say that because I got to say the YouTube version.
On the YouTube.
If you're watching this instead of listening to the audio version, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell. If you're listening to the audio, follow us on whatever you're on. Thank you very much. I've been Liam. This has been Jack. Goodbye.